Dear Patriots, before the news starts, please subscribe to our patriotic channel by clicking the subscribe button. Give us a thumbs up to this video. Don't forget to leave your opinion below in the comments section. Share the news on Facebook and Twitter so your friends see it. Thank you.
Romney I'm more of a hawk on immigration than Trump. Mitt Romney, the former Massachusetts governor vying for a Senate seat in Utah, said he's more of a hawk on immigration than President Donald Trump, arguing that the young undocumented immigrants protected under an Obama-era initiative should not be allowed to stay in the country legally. Romney, who ran for the presidency in 2012 but was defeated by former President Barack Obama, touted his conservative credentials during an event on Monday in Provo, Utah, according to local media. The former GOP nominee also described himself as a deficit hawk, a stance he said makes him more conservative than a lot of Republicans and a lot of Democrats. Romney added that his Republican bona fides extended to the ongoing debate over immigration, citing his opposition to the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals program rescinded by Trump last year. "I'm also more of a hawk on immigration than even the president," Romney said, according to the Daily Herald. "My view was these DACA kids shouldn't all be allowed to stay in the country legally." Trump announced in September he was ending the Obama-era immigration initiative, which provided work permits and some protection from deportation to people in the U.S. who entered illegally as children. Trump has suggested he would support a legislative remedy on the issue, but the White House has opposed several congressional proposals that would have extended protections to DACA recipients. The president has insisted that any deal on DACA must also include funding for his controversial wall along the southern U.S. border, a proposal that has drawn heavy criticism from Democratic officials and immigration advocacy groups. Romney, who was widely expected to run to replace retiring Senator Orrin Hatch, Republican Utah, officially announced his bid last month. "I am ready to fight for this great state and advocate for solutions that improve the lives of Utahns," he said. Jaw-dropping. President Trump letter surfaces, believed to prove Trump sneaked wall funding into spending bill. When President Donald Trump signed the ridiculous and massive $1.3 trillion omnibus spending bill on Friday, he himself decried the wasteful spending and giveaways to Democrats that had been tucked into the legislation, while he also vowed to never sign another bill like it. Many conservatives were also incensed at the obscene spending bill, most notably due to continued taxpayer funding for abortion provider Planned Parenthood and sanctuary cities, but also because it seemed like Democrats completely blocked Trump's efforts at building a wall to secure the southern border, granting him a paltry $1.6 billion to repair existing border fences. The lone obvious bright spot of the spending bill was the ample funding, more than had been requested actually, for the military, which Trump repeatedly made note of. But while many set their hair on fire and appeared to jump off the Trump train in dismay as Democrats cheerfully crowed about how they had stymied a major part of Trump's agenda, others kept a level head and began to dig deep among the 2,200-plus pages, and all referenced statutes mentioned therein, in search of some hidden reason why the president had signed this bloated spending bill into law instead of sending it back with a veto. That search was bolstered somewhat by a letter sent on Saturday from the White House to both chambers of Congress, which cited a specific statute from the funds governing 1985 Budget Control Act in relation to a specific section of the new spending bill, and declared that certain funding had been designated as an emergency requirement, which some believe grants the president legal authority to shift funds around and prioritize spending, or even not spend at all, certain funds in relation to declared emergencies, in this case specifically as they pertain to national defense. Thus, theories began to circulate that Trump had somehow snuck funding for the oft-promised border wall past the not-so-watchful eyes of arrogantly ignorant Democrats, and a few establishment Republicans, opposed to his agenda, who didn't bother to carefully read the bill, as if they even had time to do so if they wanted to, perhaps by cynical design of both sides. Consider that the New York Post reported that during the signing ceremony on Friday, Trump had stated, I want to address the situation on border security, which I call national defense. I call it stopping drugs from pouring across our border. And I call it illegal immigration. It's all of those things. But national defense is a very important two words, he added. Because by having a strong border system, including a wall, we are in a position, militarily, that is very advantageous. Then Trump tweeted on Sunday, because of the $700 and $716 billion gotten to rebuild our military, many jobs are created and our military is again rich. Building a great border wall, with drugs, poison, and enemy combatants pouring into our country, is all about national defense. Build wall through M. That has been understood by some to insinuate that Trump intended to immediately begin to build the border wall by way of the military with use of military funding, most likely through the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, as he has previously declared the drug problem to be a national health emergency and specified border security as part of national defense. Furthermore, an article from July 2017 by U.S. News & World Report, which probably garnered minimal attention when initially published, began to circulate online again, which seemed to lend credence to the theory that Trump would use military funding and the Corps of Engineers to construct the border wall. That article lamented how the House Rules Committee had quietly adopted an amendment to the Department of Defense Appropriations Bill for fiscal year 2018, which struck out language inserted by the House Armed Services Committee that had specifically prohibited defense funds from being used for border wall construction, thus allowing for those same funds to now be shifted toward the national defense priority of border security. To be sure, there is admittedly a fair bit of speculation involved in the theories that Trump will use the military and Pentagon funding to construct the border wall, and it is possible that Trump and the Department of Homeland Security really are limited funding-wise on border wall construction for the moment. That said, there are those who sincerely believe that Trump really is the self-proclaimed very stable genius who somehow manages to stay a step or two ahead of those opponents intent on tripping him up and stopping his agenda. If true, then it is highly likely that Trump did indeed figure out a way to sidestep the obstructionists in Congress with a clever plan to legally divert military funding toward the border wall, for national defense and emergency purposes. We will now await the weeping and gnashing of teeth from Democrats once they realize how Trump just pulled a fast one on them. Stormy Daniels accuses Trump lawyer of defamation. Stormy Daniels escalated her fight against President Donald Trump on Monday, filing a complaint that accused his lawyer of defamation. Daniels added the lawyer, Michael Cohen, as a defendant in her existing lawsuit against Trump a day after she appeared on 60 Minutes in the widely watched interview. Daniels, an adult film actress whose legal name is Stephanie Clifford, claims she had a sexual encounter with Trump in 2006. In October 2016, shortly before the election, she signed a contract that awarded her $130,000 in exchange for her silence about the affair. Cohen, who arranged and signed the contract, has said he used his own money to pay Daniels and that Trump was unaware of the agreement. In mid-February, Cohen issued a written statement to the media in which he said, "Just because something isn't true doesn't mean that it can't cause you harm or damage. I will always protect Mr. Trump." In the court filing, Daniels stated that it was reasonably understood that the statement was about her, and it was reasonably understood Mr. Cohen meant to convey that Ms. Clifford is a liar, someone who should not be trusted, and that her claims about her relationship with Mr. Trump is something that isn't true. Cohen's statement exposed her to hatred, contempt, ridicule, and shame, and discouraged others from associating or dealing with her, Daniels' court filing claims. David Schwartz, a lawyer for Cohen, dismissed the complaint as completely frivolous. Asked Monday about the Daniels interview that aired the previous night, White House spokesman Raj Shah told reporters that Trump strongly, clearly and has consistently denied these underlying claims. After Stephon Clark death, White House says Trump cares about people harmed through no fault of their own. White House spokesman Raj Shah said Monday he was not aware of any comments from Donald Trump about Stephon Clark, the unarmed black man fatally shot by Sacramento police this month, but he said the president cared about anyone harmed through no fault of their own. Pressed on whether the president, who has yet to address the shooting, which has sparked protests, had any response, Shah said he had not spoken to Trump about the matter. "I'm not aware of any comments that he has," the principal deputy press secretary told reporters. "Obviously, the president cares about any individual who would be harmed through no fault of their own," Shah said. "I don't know the specifics in that case. I don't want to comment further." Police have said they thought Clark, who was shot in his grandparents' backyard, was holding a gun. No weapon was found at the scene. Clark was reportedly shot 20 times by 2 police officers while on his cell phone at the home in South Sacramento. Clark's family and their attorney have demanded answers from local police on the incident, announcing their plans to sue the city for wrongful death during a press conference on Monday. Sacramento authorities have launched an investigation into the death of the 22-year-old. Officials at the local, state and congressional level have spoken out in response to the shooting, with House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi saying Clark should be alive today. White House's Shah Trump doesn't believe Stormy Daniels was threatened. The White House said Monday that President Donald Trump does not believe Stormy Daniels was threatened after she first spoke out about their alleged affair. "There is nothing to corroborate her claim," White House Deputy Press Secretary Raj Shah said. Daniels, an adult film actress whose given name is Stephanie Clifford, said in an interview with 60 Minutes that aired on Sunday she was physically threatened after speaking about her alleged sexual relationship with Trump to In Touch magazine in 2011. She said that after the magazine interview, a man approached her in a parking lot and told her to leave Trump alone. "Forget the story. That's a beautiful little girl. It'd be a shame if something happened to her mom," Daniels, in her 60 Minutes interview, recalled the man saying. Daniels is suing over a non-disclosure agreement she signed just weeks before the 2016 election, in which Trump's personal lawyer Michael Cohen paid $130,000 to secure her silence. Daniels has since said the agreement is not binding because Trump never signed it. She has offered to return the money. Shah also accused Daniels of being inconsistent in her account of an affair with Trump. "With respect to that interview, I will say the president strongly, clearly and has consistently denied these underlying claims," Shah said. "The only person who has been inconsistent is the one making the claims." When asked why Daniels was compensated to stay quiet, Shah said false charges are often settled out of court. "This is nothing outside the ordinary," he said. "False charges are settled out of court all the time. You have to ask Michael Cohen about the specifics."